First Contact and Rebellion. The stars look different from the observation deck of Jupiter Research Station. Dr. Maya Chen had spent countless nights staring at them, searching for signs of other intelligent life. Today, she wished she hadn't found it. The alarm blared through the station for the third time that hour. Red emergency lights cast eerie shadows across the curved walls as crew members rushed past her. Maya clutched her datapad tighter, her knuckles white with tension. "Dr. Chen, they need you in communications immediately," a voice called over the intercom. She was already moving. The Viridian ships had appeared 7 days ago. 7 massive vessels that entered the solar system without warning, ignoring all attempts at peaceful contact. Their sleek, crystalline forms resembled predatory sea creatures, hanging in space just beyond Mars' orbit. Admiral Thomas Reyes stood at the main console when Maya entered the communications hub. The commander of Earth's defense forces looked like he hadn't slept in days. Deep lines etched his face as he studied the incoming transmissions. "Please tell me you've made progress," he said without looking up. Maya nodded. "Their language patterns are becoming clearer. It's not what they're saying that worries me. It's what they think about us." She connected her data pad to the main screen. Strange symbols and waveforms appeared, translations forming beneath them. "The Viridians believe we're insignificant," she explained. "Their communications refer to humans as primitive organisms and temporary obstacles. They've been intercepting our broadcasts for decades, analyzing our behavior." Reyes's jaw tightened, and they've completely misunderstood us. "They see our diversity and adaptability as weakness," Maya continued. "They don't understand our history, our resilience, or our capacity for innovation under pressure." She pointed to one particular message that had repeated several times. "Their leader, they call him the Grand Overseer, is telling his fleet that humans will surrender after the first show of force." A technician rushed into the room. "Sir, we're detecting energy buildups in the Viridian fleet. They're charging weapons." Reyes moved quickly to the command station. "All defense platforms to battle stations. Alert Earth governments to prepare for possible attack." "It's too late," the technician said, voice shaking. "They're firing." The observation screens lit up as energy beams lanced from the Viridian ships toward Earth. The orbital defense platforms, humanity's first line of protection, responded immediately. Bright flashes marked the exchange of fire, but the alien weapons cut through human defenses with terrifying ease. "They're targeting major cities," another officer reported, horror in his voice. "Beijing, New York, London." Maya watched in shock as the first impacts hit Earth's surface. Even from Jupiter's orbit, the flashes of destruction were visible. Millions of lives gone in moments. "Get me a direct channel," Reyes ordered. "I want to talk to these bastards." "Sir, they're jamming most frequencies, but we might be able to get through on the quantum entanglement network," a communications officer replied. Reyes nodded grimly. "Do it." The screen flickered, then displayed the image of a being that resembled a tall, thin humanoid with iridescent blue skin and 4 pupil-less eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. Its mouth was a small vertical slit, and it wore what appeared to be ceremonial armor. "This is Admiral Thomas Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. You are committing an act of war against a peaceful planet. Cease fire immediately." The alien's expression was impossible to read, but its voice translated through the computer system. "Your resistance amuses us, human. Your species will be removed for the greater prosperity of the Viridian Empire. Your primitive technology cannot harm us. Accept your extinction with dignity." Reyes leaned forward. "You've made a terrible mistake. You should have studied us more carefully." The alien made a high-pitched sound that might have been laughter. "We have studied enough. You humans waste resources preserving your weakest members. You fight amongst yourselves over trivial differences. Such disharmony makes you unworthy of continued existence. The resources of your world will serve a higher purpose." "You misunderstand us," Reyes said slowly. "Humans value compassion, yes, But when threatened, when those we love are harmed. He paused, watching reports of destruction scroll across a secondary screen. You should have listened to your scientists. You should have paid attention to our history. The alien commander dismissed him with a wave of its four-fingered hand. Empty threats from a dying species. The transmission cut off as another wave of energy blasts struck Earth's defense platforms. One by one, they went dark. Evacuate all personnel to the emergency shelters, Rise ordered, and send a message to all surviving military outposts. Authorization code, Phoenix Rising. What does that mean? Maya asked. Rise's eyes were cold. It means we stopped fighting by their rules. Over the next 3 days, Jupiter Research Station shook with impacts as the Viridians attempted to destroy it. Most of the station was built beneath the surface of Ganymede, protecting the thousands of personnel who had retreated to its depths. In a secure room deep below the surface, Maya worked tirelessly with a team of linguists and codebreakers. They intercepted and analyzed every transmission between the Viridian ships. They think they've won, she told Reyes during a brief break. They're already dividing Earth into resource extraction zones. They believe the surviving humans will submit out of fear. Reyes was looking at a different report. Despite the Viridians' overwhelming technology, their ground forces were meeting unexpected resistance. Human military units that should have been destroyed were vanishing into wilderness areas, mountains, and oceans, only to reappear and strike without warning. My brother is coordinating with the resistance from the Australian outback, Reyes said. James says they're adapting faster than the Viridians can respond. The aliens don't understand guerrilla warfare, said Captain Sofia Mendez, a special forces officer who had escaped from Earth on one of the last shuttles. They expect us to fight like they do. Direct confrontation, clear battle lines. When we don't, it confuses them. Maya looked up from her work. I found something important in their communications. The Viridians believe in absolute conformity. It's central to their culture. They can't comprehend fighting when victory seems impossible. They expect us to calculate our chances and give up. That's not how humans work, Sophia said, cleaning the weapon she had salvaged. We fight hardest when the odds are worst. A young communications officer burst into the room. Sir, we've established contact with the underwater base in the Marianas Trench. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka reports they've captured Viridian technology. They're learning how it works. For the first time in days, Reyes smiled. Tell James and all resistance cells, Operation Wildfire is now active. That night, as the Viridians celebrated their complete victory over humanity, the first of their supply ships exploded without warning. On their command channels, a message played in their own language. You ignored our warning. Now the hunt begins. 6 months passed since the Viridian invasion. Earth's surface looked different now. Alien structures rose from the ruins of major cities. Strange vessels patrolled the skies. The invaders believed they had won. They were wrong. Deep in the Andes Mountains, Sofia Mendez watched through binoculars as a Viridian patrol moved along an ancient Incan trail. 5 soldiers in their crystalline armor, weapons ready. They looked nervous. They had reason to be. Ready? Sofia asked the man beside her. James Reyes nodded. Admiral Rice's brother had become the tactical heart of the South American resistance. His military background combined with his quick thinking had kept their group alive when others fell. The pattern is clear, he said quietly. They never change their patrol routes. They can't imagine that we're studying them. Sophia signaled to the hidden fighters spread through the forest. 20 men and women armed with a mix of human weapons and stolen Viridian technology. The aliens had superior firepower, but humans had something more valuable. Adaptability. Miles away in what remained of Sydney, a Viridian commander named Zulax reported to the Grand Overseer. The holographic image of the Viridian leader flickered in the dim light of the command center. The human resistance continues to be problematic, Zulax admitted reluctantly. We've lost 5 more patrols this week. The Grand Overseer's 4 eyes narrowed. Impossible. Our forces outnumber them. Our technology is superior. They don't fight like us. Zelax tried to explain. They strike and disappear. They learn from each defeat. Each time we adapt, they change tactics faster than we can respond. The Grand Overseer made a hissing sound of displeasure. Find their leaders. Destroy their hiding places. Make examples of those you capture. We've tried, Zelax began. Then try harder, the Grand Overseer snapped before his image vanished. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka worked in silence. The underwater research facility in the Marianas Trench had been built years before the invasion as a deep-sea exploration base. Now it served as humanity's most secret laboratory. Hiroshi carefully removed components from a captured Viridian neural interface. The aliens used these devices to connect directly with their ships and weapons. If he could understand how they worked, humans might be able to disrupt them, or better yet, control them. Any progress? Asked Dr. Maya Chen. She had arrived 3 weeks ago from Ganymede, bringing crucial information about Viridian communication patterns. Hiroshi nodded without looking up. Their neural technology is based on principles we were just beginning to explore before the invasion. They're not as far ahead of us as they think. Maya placed a data chip on his workbench. The scientists on Europa discovered something important before I left. The Viridian ships use crystalline resonators for their weapon systems. Hit them with the right frequency, and the crystals shatter. Hiroshi finally looked up, his eyes wide. That could change everything. In orbit around Earth, the last human warship drifted silently among debris from the initial battle. The Defiance had survived by playing dead, powering down all systems as its captain, Alexei Volkov, watched the planet fall. For months, they had observed the Viridian fleet, learning their patterns, their blind spots. The crew of 40 had become experts on alien behavior, striking at supply ships when they could, gathering intelligence when they couldn't. Today, they had scored their biggest prize yet, a Viridian officer captured during a raid on a small transport. The alien sat rigidly in the makeshift cell, staring at Captain Volkov with undisguised contempt. Your resistance is pointless, it said in broken English learned from captured humans. The Empire spans 12 star systems. You cannot win. Alexei studied the creature. Yet you're afraid of us. I can see it. The Viridian made a clicking sound with its jaw. We do not fear prey. Then why do your soldiers panic when they lose communication with each other? Why do they retreat when faced with unexpected tactics? Alexei leaned closer to the cell barrier. You expect us to calculate odds and surrender. You don't understand that humans fight hardest when winning seems impossible. The alien turned away, but not before Alexei saw a flicker of uncertainty in its 4 eyes. Back on Earth, Sofia Mendez's team struck at the Viridian patrol with practiced precision. EMP grenades designed by Hiroshi's team disabled the aliens' communication systems. Without constant contact with their command structure, the Viridian soldiers became disoriented, their training falling apart in the face of isolation. The battle lasted less than 5 minutes. 4 aliens dead, 1 captured, along with undamaged weapons, and a command tablet. James Reyes accessed the tablet while Sophia secured their prisoner. This is a major find, he said, studying the alien text. It contains patrol schedules for the entire region. Can we transmit it to the other resistance cells? Sophia asked. James nodded. Through the Phantom Network. Dr. Chen's team set it up last month. The Viridians still can't detect it. The Phantom Network had changed everything. Scattered human resistance groups could now coordinate their attacks across continents. Information flowed between Ganymede, the underwater facility, Europa, and the Defiance. Humanity was no longer just surviving. It was organizing. That night, as James sent the patrol data through the secure network, he added a personal message to his brother on Ganymede. Thomas, the hunters are becoming the hunted. The Viridians still don't understand what they're fighting. We'll be ready for the next phase. On Ganymede, Admiral Reyes received his brother's message with grim satisfaction. He turned to Maya Chen, who had returned from Earth a week ago. "What will they do when they realize they're losing?" he asked. Maya considered this. "They'll escalate. Their culture doesn't allow for defeat. They'll become more brutal, trying to break our will. And when that fails, they'll panic," she said simply. "Their hierarchy will fragment. They have no concept of individual initiative. Without clear orders from above, their entire system falls apart." Reyes nodded slowly. "Then we target their leadership next. It's time to bring the hunt to them, across Earth and beyond." The message spread through the Phantom Network. Phase 2 was beginning. Humanity would no longer just strike at patrols and supply lines. Now they would hunt the hunters. In his command center, the Grand Overseer received increasingly disturbing reports. Human resistance was growing stronger, not weaker. His forces were losing ground. "Impossible," he muttered, crushing a report in his long fingers. "Humans are primitive, disorganized, emotional." His communication officer approached nervously. "Grand Overseer, we've detected a new transmission on all frequencies. The humans are broadcasting it everywhere." "What does it say?" the Grand Overseer demanded. The officer's voice trembled. "It says, you ignored the warning. Nowhere is safe. The hunt begins. 1 year after the invasion, the Viridians no longer strutted openly through the ruins of human cities. They moved in groups, weapons ready, eyes scanning constantly for threats that seemed to come from nowhere. Colonel Elena Rodriguez watched them from the window of a collapsed building in what was once downtown Rio de Janeiro. The former military strategist had never imagined herself leading a global resistance, but here she was. Her knowledge of asymmetric warfare had proven surprisingly effective against the technologically advanced aliens. "They're entering the kill zone," whispered Marco Oliveira beside her. Once a software engineer, Marco now used his understanding of network systems to intercept and disrupt Viridian communications. Elena raised her hand, signaling the 30 resistance fighters hidden throughout the rubble. "Remember, we need their field commander alive." The Viridian patrol followed their usual route, another weakness humans had learned to exploit. The aliens relied on patterns and protocols, lacking the human instinct to vary routines when threatened. The trap was sprung with practiced precision. EMP grenades disabled the aliens' communications first, cutting them off from their hierarchy. Then sonic disruptors based on Hiroshi Tanaka's discovery about crystalline resonance shattered their armor. In the confusion, Elena's fighters struck from multiple directions. The battle lasted 4 minutes. When it ended, 19 Viridians lay dead, and their field commander knelt among the bodies, surrounded by humans with captured Viridian weapons. Elena approached the alien officer, activating the translation device Maya Chen had developed. "Tell your leaders Rio de Janeiro is now under human control. Any Viridian ships entering our airspace will be shot down." The alien stared with hate-filled eyes. "You are primitives. This victory means nothing." "That's what your kind said a year ago," Elena replied. "Yet here we are." Thousands of miles away in the underwater facility, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka made the breakthrough that would change the course of the war. For months, he had studied the Viridian neural interfaces, learning how they connected to their technology. "It's not just a communication system," he explained to the scientists gathered around his workstation. "It's how they control everything. Ships, weapons, even their automated defense systems." He displayed a diagram on the main screen, and I found a backdoor. "We can send false information directly into their network. Make their own weapons see them as enemies." Word of Hiroshi's discovery spread quickly through the Phantom Network. Within days, resistance cells across Earth began deploying the new technology. Viridian defense systems turned against their masters. Security drones opened fire on their commanders. Surveillance networks showed empty streets when humans moved freely. On Ganymede, Maya Chen watched the increasing panic in Viridian communications with grim satisfaction. Her team had completed a comprehensive psychological profile of their enemy, identifying vulnerabilities no one had expected. They'd never experienced defeat, she told Admiral Reyes. Their entire society is built on the belief in their superiority. When that belief crumbles, they don't know how to adapt. Reyes nodded, studying the reports from Earth. James says they're already seeing signs of breakdown in their command structure. Lower-ranked Viridians are hesitating to follow orders they think might get them killed. Because we've introduced something they don't understand, Maya said. Individual decision-making. Their hierarchy doesn't allow for it, but they're seeing humans succeed by thinking independently. Some of them are trying to copy us. Exactly, and their leaders consider it treason. In orbit, Captain Alexei Volkov's ship was no longer alone. The Defiance had become the flagship of a growing fleet, captured Viridian vessels, repurposed and crewed by humans trained to use alien technology. Alexei studied the tactical display showing Viridian positions around Earth. Their orbital defenses are concentrated over their main ground bases. They're pulling back, consolidating. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Yuki Nakamura, nodded. They're scared. The Grand Overseer has ordered all garrison commanders to hold their positions or face execution. How do you know that? Alexei asked sharply. Yuki smiled. Our guest told me. She gestured toward the quarters where they kept their Viridian prisoner. He's becoming more cooperative. I think he's realized his leaders have no plan to rescue him. On Europa, James Reyes supervised the loading of weapons onto transport ships. The moon's hidden facilities, converted to produce the sonic disruptors that could crack Viridian armor, were working at full capacity. The first shipments will reach Earth next week. He told the holographic image of his brother, who now commanded the recaptured Ganymede base. How are things there? Thomas's expression was fierce with pride. We control all operations now. The Viridians tried to retake the main facility yesterday. They lost 30 ships. Not one made it past our new defense grid. James smiled grimly. They still don't understand what's happening, do they? They can't comprehend that we're not just fighting to survive anymore. No, Thomas agreed. They can't. For weeks, the pattern repeated across Earth and the solar system. Human forces, now armed with Viridian technology had modified and improved, struck at the aliens' command centers. Each victory yielded more weapons, more ships, more intelligence. The Viridians responded with increasing brutality, bombarding recaptured human cities from orbit. But for every city they destroyed, 3 more slipped from their grasp as their ground forces retreated to more defensible positions. In Sydney, Commander Zulax watched with growing dread as the reports flowed in. The humans had taken back control of North America, most of Europe, and large portions of Asia. Their ships, Viridian vessels stolen and repurposed, now controlled vast swaths of orbital space. We must abandon Earth, he told his subordinates. Regroup at the colony on Mars. The Grand Overseer has forbidden any retreat, one of his officers reminded him. The Grand Overseer is not here, Zilak snapped. I am. And I say we. The alarm cut him off. Proximity sensors blaring throughout the base. What is it? He demanded. Human ships, the sensor operator replied, voice shaking. Dozens of them. They've breached our outer defenses. Impossible, Zilax whispered. Our defense grid is offline. A communications officer interrupted. All systems are failing. Something is disrupting the network. Zilax stared at the tactical display in disbelief as one by one. The symbols representing his defensive forces winked out. This couldn't be happening. The Empire had never lost a war. The Empire had never retreated. All forces to battle stations, he ordered. We will hold this position until... The main doors to the command center exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris, Zilax saw them. Humans, wearing modified Viridian armor, carrying weapons that shouldn't have been in their hands. At their head stood a tall female human with close-cropped hair and cold eyes. Behind her was a male human with dark skin and a scar running down one side of his face. "Commander Zulax," Sophia Mendez said through her translator. "The Grand Overseer abandoned you. Your reinforcements aren't coming." "How do you know my name?" Zulax demanded. James Reyes stepped forward. "We know everything about you. Your patrol routes, your command codes, your contingency plans." He activated a holographic projector, displaying the tactical situation across Earth. "Your forces are surrounded. You've lost." Zulax looked at the display in horror. It couldn't be true. Yet the evidence was right in front of him. Human forces had encircled every remaining Viridian stronghold on the planet. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "Unconditional surrender," Sophia replied. "All Viridian forces will lay down their weapons and withdraw from Earth immediately. And if we refuse—" James smiled thinly. "Then we continue the hunt. One by one, your bases will fall. Your ships will be destroyed or captured. Your soldiers will die far from home, fighting an enemy they don't understand." Zulax thought of the Grand Overseer, safely ensconced in his palace on the Viridian homeworld, issuing orders with no concept of the reality on the ground. He thought of the countless soldiers who had already died following those orders. "I need to consult with my superior officers," he said finally. Sophia nodded. "You have 1 hour. Choose wisely." Across the solar system, in what remained of Viridian-controlled space, similar scenes played out. On Mars, the Viridian colony commander surrendered after human forces disabled their planetary defense grid. At the mining outpost on Mercury, the alien garrison fled rather than face the approaching human fleet. On Europa, Admiral Reyes watched as the data flowed in. Victory after victory. The tide had turned completely. Maya Chen stood beside him, her expression thoughtful. "They never thought we could do this," she said quietly. "Their entire strategic doctrine was based on the assumption that technologically inferior species would accept defeat once the outcome seemed inevitable. They didn't understand humanity," Reyes replied. "They still don't." The Grand Overseer's flagship appeared in Earth orbit 3 days later. The massive crystalline vessel, surrounded by a fleet of warships, took up position over the North Atlantic. "This is Grand Overseer Vex Theral of the Viridian Empire," came the transmission on all frequencies. "I demand to speak with the human leadership immediately." In Rio de Janeiro, now the de facto capital of liberated Earth, Colonel Elena Rodriguez looked at the faces around her. Sophia Mendez, James Reyes, Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, and the holographic projections of Admiral Thomas Reyes, Maya Chen, and Captain Alexei Volkov. "Shall we accept?" she asked. "We should," Maya replied, "but not on his terms, not as supplicants." Elena nodded. "Open a channel." She straightened her uniform and faced the camera. "This is Colonel Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. Your forces on Earth have surrendered. Your outposts in the solar system have been neutralized. There is nothing to discuss except the terms of your complete withdrawal." The Grand Overseer's 4 eyes blazed with fury. "You dare dictate terms to me? I command the most powerful fleet in 12 star systems. I can reduce your entire world to ash with a single order." "Then why haven't you?" Elena asked calmly. "Because you know we've adapted your weapons technology. Because you know your ship's vulnerabilities. Because you know we now control most of your ground-based defense systems." She leaned forward. "You ignored our warning once. Don't make the same mistake twice." For a long moment, the Grand Overseer was silent. Then, in a voice thick with suppressed rage, "What are your terms?" "Complete withdrawal from the solar system. Return of all captured humans. Reparations for the damage you've caused. And a binding treaty acknowledging Earth's sovereignty and our right to defend ourselves." "You asked too much," the Grand Overseer hissed. Elena's expression didn't change. "Those are our minimum terms. You have 24 hours to consider them. After that, we continue the hunt." The transmission ended. In the silence that followed, James Reyes spoke first. "He'll never agree to all of that." "He doesn't have to." Admiral Ray's reply from Ganymede. He just needs to agree to withdraw. The rest we can negotiate later. And if he refuses? Sophia asked. Elena looked at Hiroshi. Doctor, is the new weapon ready? The scientist nodded gravely. The crystal disruptor is operational. One hit to the Grand Overseer's flagship will cascade through their entire fleet. Their weapon systems will fail simultaneously. Then we prepare for both outcomes, Elena decided. Peace or war, the choice is theirs. 23 hours later, the Grand Overseer's response came. His holographic image appeared in the command center, the fury in his eyes replaced by cold calculation. The Viridian Empire will withdraw from your solar system, he said stiffly. Your captured people will be returned, but there will be no reparations, no treaty. This is not a negotiation. This is a temporary cessation of hostilities. Elena exchanged glances with her advisors before responding. We accept your withdrawal and the return of our people. As for the rest, we'll see you again, Grand Overseer. Perhaps next time, you'll listen when we warn you. The Viridian fleet began its withdrawal that same day. Ship by ship, they pulled back from Earth orbit, from Mars, from the outer planets. Within a week, the solar system was clear of alien presence for the first time in over a year. In the command center in Rio, Elena watched the final Viridian ships disappear into the darkness beyond Pluto's orbit. They'll be back, James said quietly. Yes, Elena agreed. But next time, we'll be ready. She turned to look at the tactical display, now showing the growing human fleet. A mix of Earth vessels and captured Viridian technology. Already, scientists were reverse engineering the alien drives that would allow humanity to reach beyond their solar system. They thought they were hunting easy prey, she said. Instead, they woke a predator they never imagined. Maya Chen, watching from Ganymede, smiled grimly. They refused to listen. Now they know, humans don't just fight to survive. We fight to win. In his flagship, retreating toward Viridian space, the Grand Overseer reviewed the disaster that had befallen his forces. How had it happened? How had a technologically inferior species not only resisted but driven back the might of the Viridian Empire? The answer came in fragments of intercepted human communications, in the last reports from his defeated commanders, in the terrified accounts of the few soldiers who had escaped the human counteroffensive. They adapt. They innovate. They never surrender. The Grand Overseer turned to his strategic advisor. Analyze everything. Every battle, every engagement. I want to know how they defeated us. And then, excellence. The Grand Overseer's 4 eyes narrowed. And then we prepare. The next time we face the humans, we will not underestimate them. On Earth, as the last alien ship disappeared from their sensors, humanity began to rebuild. But they did not lay down their weapons. They did not dismantle the fleet they had created from the wreckage of war. Instead, they looked to the stars with new purpose. The Viridians had brought war to Earth, believing humans would submit in the face of superior technology. Now humanity would bring something the Viridians had never encountered before, a species that learned from defeat, that grew stronger through adversity, that never, ever gave up. The hunt had only just begun.